So here we have question number 1. So on the axis below, sketch the graph of y equal to 6 cos 2x minus 1 between the values of x of 0 equal to 360. So as always, whenever we have these kind of questions, we used to do what? We used to make a table of values. So let's begin with the value of x and the corresponding value of y. Now, we always begin with the value from 0, as you can see here, 0. Now, what is the interval values we can take? Now, you can take as you like, I would say, but usually it does help to use exact values for your graph so you can have a smooth curve easily. For example, here to find that, I will use the value in front of the x, which is 2. Now, usually we will take intervals of 90, right? But because here we have 2, so we divide by 2. That will give me 45. So I will use interval of 45 for this question. Now, again, by doing this, you don't get any marks. It is just a way to help me to find those points on the graph. So this does not really matter here. The point is that if you're able to draw the graph correctly, that's the whole point of this question. But for me, it does help me out to find the right shape by using the exact points on my graph. So let's do that one by one. So the interval is 45, so that will be 0, 45, 90, 135, 180, 225, 270, 315, and then 360. Now you just have to plug in the values in the equation. Here we have to use degrees because x is 0 and 360 degrees, right? So first one we have 6 cos 2x, we have 0 here, minus 1. That will be 5 for the first value. 6, so we have 6 cos 2x, so x is 45 times 2 is 90, minus 1, that should be minus 1. Now again, same thing, 6 cos 2x will be 180 minus 1, that should be minus 7. And we have 135 now, 6 cos 2 times 135 minus 1, that should be minus 1. And we have 180, let's see what happens, that should be 5. As you can see, based on these few values, you can see that we begin at the value of 5, and then we again pass through the value of 5. It took 180, which means that the period is 180. So we understand that one cycle takes 180 degrees to happen, so we understand it will be repeating itself for the rest of these values. So here we have 5, it will be minus 1, it will be minus 7, minus 1, and 5. Now again, you don't need to know this. You can always plug in the values in the calculator to find these values, right? But this, we have to plot these points on the graph and join them by a smooth curve. So one by one. First, we have the value of 0, 5. So this is the value of 0 here. 5 will be, this is, let me label this as 2, 4, 5 will be here for me. 5. Okay. And then we have 45 minus 1. So let's say I will take 40 minus 1 here. So 45 will be here, minus 1 will be right here. Then I would have 9 minus 7. So 90 minus 7, as you can see here. So minus 7, I would say the value to be this one. So let me use set square to help me out. So for this one, it seems to be on this line. Well, somewhere over here. Okay, that will be 90, and then that should be this one. And for 180, we have to be back to 5. Okay, so now let's move on to the other points. As you can see, we have 225 will be minus 1. We have 225, so 270 will be minus 7. Somewhere over here. Obviously, it's best to use a ruler for that. And then here will be minus 1 again. And then 360 will be value of 5, as you can see, will be somewhere over here. Now, after plotting all the points, we have to join them by a smooth curve. Okay? This one is the minimum value, the max value, and the minimum value. So that will be something like this, right? Now, of course, you will have to draw this with a pencil because if your curve is not good, you can always erase that and try again. That is the reason why you will use a pencil to join the points and form a smooth curve. That will be this, and this should be something like this. Okay, so that will be the shape of the curve. As you can see, we have 1 cycle and 2 cycle for this curve between 0 and 360, and at the end label the curve as required. Y is 6 cos 2x minus 1. Okay, that is for part A of the question. Now for part B of the question, the graph of y equal to a plus b sine c theta between those two is given below. As you can see, this is the shape of the graph. We have to use that to find the value of a, b, and c. Now for the value of a is pretty easy. It is the y-intercept. As you can see, where does your curve cut the y-axis? It cuts the y-axis at the point 0, so we understand that the value of a has to be 0. Now, however, there's many ways of finding that again. You can always use a passing point. Now, one point we can use is the point 0, 0. Replace back in your equation, that will be theta, that will be y. So you will have 0 is a plus b sine of 0. So this will become 0. So conclude a has to be 0. That is your first value to find. Now from this, we can derive that y is now b sine c theta. We have to find the value of b and the value of c. Now to find the value of b, you have to understand b represents the amplitude of the curve. As you observe, this is the amplitude, right? This distance right here. So as you can see, there has to be the value of 4. Conclusion, b has to be the value of 4. Now what about the value of c? So now c is related to the period of this function, of the graph. Now what is the period? For example, if you look at this one, the idea of period is that if I begin with 5, for me to get back to the same value will be my period. So example, so at point 0 here, I was at 5. Now for me to get back to the same point, it took me 180 degrees. So my period here is 180 degrees. Or we could just use this value here to find this will be 360 divided by 2. That will be 180. So that's how you find period of your curve. Now going back to this one, if you observe, I begin here. For me to go back to the same value here, to complete one cycle, that's the idea, not same value, but to complete one full cycle. For example here, to complete one full cycle, it took me 180. So here, to complete one full cycle, it took me 180 and 180, so it took me 360. So the idea is period for this graph is 360. So we know this value, but how do we find this? By the equation, we use this value of c. So we take 360 usually, divided by c is supposed to give you your period. So conclusion, equate, you will have c is equal to 1. So that is my value of c. So from this question, you realize that a is 0, b has to be the value of 4, which is the amplitude, and c has to be the value of 1. And that is your question number 1 for this paper. Let's move on to question number 2. On the axis below, sketch the graph of y, modulus x minus 3, and y equal to modulus of 2 over 5x, giving the points where the graph meets the axis. So let's do one by one. As always, what we do is when we have a modulus, we first try to ignore the modulus, right? So let's begin with my first graph. First one, my graph is y equal to x minus 3. So I first ignore the modulus. Now, as you can see, this one is a straight line. So how do you draw a straight line? You have to find 2 points on the line and then join them by a straight line. So let's do that. My first point I can choose, let's say x is equal to 0. Y has to be minus 3. Let's say y is 0. X has to be 3. So we have 2 points that we can use to draw this line. That will be 3, 0. So let's draw this first. So let me mark my graph with the points. So here we have, let me plot. So here we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And same thing here. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And same thing here as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the first point is 0 minus 3. So 0 here, obviously. And minus 3 will be right here. So this is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. And then we have 3, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 0 will be here. Now as you can see, if I join these 2 points, I will have this line, which is the line of y equal to x minus 3. So that will be my line. So let's join that by a straight line. Now as you can see, I will stop right here. Why? Because I can continue for now. Let me continue with the pencil. As you can see, this is my graph for this one, for y equal to x minus 3. Now again, the question is we have to draw y equal to modulus x minus 3. So everything which is below this line has to be reflected upwards. So if this was minus 3, this has to be the value of 3. Right? So we have to, instead of continuing downwards, we have to reflect this part upwards and connect to the value of 3. So that will be my first answer, or my first graph, labeled as y equal to x minus 3 modulus. This is my first part. Now obviously you have to erase this part because you don't need that for your answer. Okay, so now again the same concept applies, the same kind of thinking for this one. Now I have to draw number 2. So number 2, I will do this here, which is y equal to 2 over 5 x modulus. Right, this is the initial graph. I will begin with first ignoring the modulus, which is this one. Now I have to find 2 points on the graph to join them to form a graph. So x says 0, y will be 0. Let's say y is, take x to the value of 5. Why not? Because here we have 5. You can see if you put 5 here, what happens? Y becomes the value of 2. As you can see, we have 2 passing point, 0, 0, and the value of 5, 2. So let's do that. First is 0, 0. Value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 should be somewhere over here. Let's see. 2 over here, right? So let's join them together. So that will be right here. So this is my first part of the curve. Now the idea is that obviously you will have to continue this line. Usually without the modulus, it will keep going down, right? So we understand that this is the usual line without the modulus. Now given that we have a modulus sign, we know we have to flip this up because we don't want to have any negative values. Okay, so basically here we can just reflect. So here we had 5, 2. Here we can have minus 5, 2. So that will be 5 here, minus 5, sorry, and 2 should be somewhere right here. Okay, so by reflection, the graph will become something like this. Okay, so now finally we have to label this as y equal to modulus 2 over 5 x. Of course, don't forget to label the points where it meets the axis. Here we have the point 3, here it is 0, and here we have the point 3, and we are good. So we don't need to show the points actually, we can just show the intersection on the axis that is good enough. That is my x and my y-axis. That is for part A of the question. Now for part B of the question, here we have to solve this equation. As you can see, this is one of the graphs we have drawn, and this is also the graph we have drawn. Of course, this is minus here. My apologies for that. So we have to solve that. So the idea is that when is the graph, we have to find the value of x for when the graph meets. Now going back to my graph, because that's the way we have to solve, we have to think, why did they make us draw something and then ask us a question about the graph itself? So because we have to use the graph, that's why. So going back, you can see we have the intersection here and here. Right. Now, we have to understand this equation here is the only one that matters. We don't care about this part of the line. Now, what is the equation of this part? It will be, so let's say if I wrote this, y equal to modulus x. You know that it could be minus x or the value of x. So same idea applies here. This is the initial line, sorry. This line, the equation was y equal to 2 over 5x. And this is y equal to minus 2 over 5x. Same thing for the brown line. This line was what? This line is y equal to positive. And this one is equal to, so 3 minus x, right? Now, again, as you can see, we only care about the points where they meet. As you can see, the first point, let's find this point. This point is the intersection between this line and the green line. So let's write this down. So the green line here that we have is y equal to 2 over 5x, and the brown line with which it intersects is y equal to x minus 3. So we have to solve these two simultaneously. So here we have y, here we have y, we just replace. You will have 2 over 5, x is x minus 3, right? So next to one side, you will have x minus 2 over 5 is 3. 3 over 5 x is 3. So finally, x has to be the value of, if you had that cancel out, 1, 1, that will be 5. That is my first value of x. This is this point where they meet. Seems to be the value of 5. Now how about this point? This point is the intersection between, again, this green line, but the other brown line. So let's write this down. The green line that we have right now is 2 over 5. And then the other brown line, as you can see, was 3 minus x. Here we have y, and here we have y. Just replace, you will have 2 over 5x has to be 3 minus x. Simplify, you will have, send this x over here, you will have 2 over 5. X plus x has to be 3. And that has to be 7 over 5. X equals to 3. So x has to be 15 divided by 7, right? Because cross multiply, 3 times 5 is 15 divided by the value of 7. So this is the value of x that we have for this equation by using your graph to help you find those 2 points to solve that equation. And that is your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So here we have to find the first 3 terms in this expansion in ascending powers of x of a minus 3x power 10, now where a is a constant. Now, we have done this kind of question many times before, so we have to find the first 3 terms of this expansion. As you guys know, because the power is 10, we can begin with 10. Choose 0, that will be to begin with the first term. Here we have a, that will be a here. And here we have minus 3x, that will be minus 3x. Now because this is 0, that has to be 0. 10 minus 0 is 10, that will be 10. Now, continue. After 0, we have 1, that will be 1. And again, we have a and minus 3x. This is 1, that has to be 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. Now continue. We have 2, a minus 3, 2 here, there has to be 2 here, and there has to be 8 right here. Now we can stop just right here because we only care about the first 3 terms of this expansion. So we don't need to expand any further. Now simplify one by one. So 10 choose 0 is 1, so 1. A power 10 is a power 10. This will be anything power 0 is just 1. Okay, continue. 10 choose 1, will be 10. A power 9 is a power 9, and this will become minus 3x. Now 10 choose 2 has to be 45. A power 8 will be a power 8, and this will be minus 3 squared should be 9x squared. Simplify, that will be a power 10 plus, or minus, because here we have minus 3 times 10 will be minus 30 a power 9x. And finally, 45 times 9 has to be plus 405 a power 8 x squared. So this is the first three terms of this expansion for part A. Now let's move on to part B. Now given that a is a positive value, so we have to take this into account. It is a positive value, and the first three terms found in part A, so it is connected with each other, as you can see, can also be expressed in this form. So find the value of each of A, P, and Q. So basically what it means is that the first three terms that we have seen here is actually the same as these three. So we have to equate them with each other. So let me explain. So basically, if you were to write this here again, so this is P, here it is plus QX, and here we are plus 405 over 256 x squared. So we are saying that these and these are the same. So it means that if you were to compare terms, you have to get the same values, right? So by doing this, we can form a few equations. The first one is we realize that a power 10 has to be the value of P. That's my first equation. And for this one, minus 30 a power 9 has to be the value of Q. Okay, and for this one, 405 a power 8 has to be the value of 405 over 256. Okay, that is my third equation. Now we have to use these three equations to find the value of A, P, and Q. Now the easiest one will be to begin with this, right? Now we can just cancel out these two values, right? 4, 5, 4, 5. Right now you will have A power 8 will be 1 over 256. Now to simplify this, pretty easy. A, we send this over here, that will give you 1 over 256, 1 over 8. If that makes sense. Let me explain how did I do this. Because if I have A power 8, and here if I have 256. Now, I want to find the value of A. If I want to find the value of A, I want to eliminate this value. Now, one easy way to understand this is if we apply the same powers on both sides. Let's see what can we do to cancel out this one. So I realized that I have to apply the power of 1 over 8 and 1 over 8, because 8 times 1 over 8 is 1. I will have A, and here we have 1 over 256, 1 over 8. As you can see, I was able to make A become the subject of formula. Now from this, we can break this down. That will be 1 power 1 over 8 over 256 power 1 over 8. So let's find the values. Now 1 power anything will be 1 over, here we have 256 power 1 over 8. That should give you the value of 2. That will be 2. Now again, because usually when you apply square root, for example, you get plus minus values, but because here we know that the value of A is positive, we only will take the positive value of this one. Okay, so that's why it will be A equal to half and not minus half. That makes sense. That will be value of A. Now we have to find the value of P and the value of Q. So first P will be A power 10. So A is half power 10. That will be 1 power 10 over 2 power 10, right? That will be 1 over, so 2 power 10, that should be 1024. That is my value of P. Now let's say we have to find the value of Q. So Q now, as you can see, it's there's a few minus values. So we have minus 30. That will be 1 over 2 power 9 equal to the value of Q. Now simplify. Q has to be minus 30. That will be 1 power 9 over 2 power 9. So simplify again. That will give me minus 30. That will be 1. And that will be 2 power 9. Now what is 2 power 9? 515. So you have minus 30 over 512. That will be minus 15 over 256 for my value of Q. Okay, as you can see, this will be my answer for question part B. Let me write this down. So we conclude that by doing this calculation, the value of A was found to be half. The value of P was found to be 1 over 1024. And finally, Q was found to be. So basically you have to replace here minus 30 A power 9. So A power 9 is what again? So we have A power 9 times minus 30. That will give you this value. So minus 15 over 256 for your value of C. As you can see, that will be your question number 3. So I believe you guys were able to do this question. I think the steps are pretty similar to other questions, but I think you guys were able to derive this. And that is your question number 7. Now let's move on to question number 4. So here we have to find dy by dx of this value. How are you going to find this? So as we know, if you have, let's say, x plus 1 power n. So d by dx of this value will be, we first have to multiply by the power. So that will become n minus 1. Then multiply by d by dx of the value inside, which is x plus 1. So same logic applies here as well. First thing first, multiply by the power, which is 5 over 2. That will be 2x plus 1. Then 5 over 2, we have to minus 1 to that power. And multiply by dx of the inside value, which is 2x plus 1. So simplify. This becomes 2. And this becomes 5 over 2. And that will become 2x plus 1. And that will become 3 over 2. Now simplify. So of course here we have 2, right? 2 from here. Now these 2 will cancel out. And you will end up with this value, which is 2x plus 1, 3 over 2. So by conclusion, we have dy by dx at least, have to give you 2x plus 1, 3 over 2 for your answer. That is for part A. Now for part B, here we have hence. Now, whenever you see hence, this is an indication you have to use your answer from part 1. We have to find this integration. Now, how can we use the first part to find this? So it comes with the understanding that if you were to integrate this result, right, you're supposed to get back your initial value, which is 2x plus 1, 5 over 2. Okay, so that is what we say. Integration is a reverse process of differentiation. So when you differentiate something, you get this. Now when you integrate this, you get back the initial value. So that's what we have to understand to solve this question. Now, if you observe, we only care about this value right here. So we don't need the 5. So pretty easy, because 5 is only a multiple. We can take out the value of 5. So 5 will be outside. You will have 2x plus 1, 3 over 2, dx is equal to 2x plus 1, 5 over 2. Now, obviously, how to remove the 5? We can just divide by 5 everywhere. You will have 2x plus 1, 3 over 2 dx, and that will become 1 over 5, 2x plus 1, 5 over 2. Now you can plus or not plus the constant of integration, because we know it is the exact value already. You can choose to plus or not plus. It doesn't really matter here. That will be your answer for the question part B. Now let's move on to part C of the question. So here we have the diagram shows the graph of the curve y. As we have seen, this is from part A of this question, for the value of x is more than 0. So x more than 0, as you can see. Now the region that is enclosed by the curve, this is the curve and the line, the axis, and the line x equal to a, which is this one, is equal to 48.4 square units, which means this area right here, which is enclosed by your curve and your axis, we have been given that the value of this area is 48.4 square units. So we have to use that information to find something, right? It says we have to find the value of a, which is this, showing all your working. So this question is pretty easy as well. If you observe, how do you find area of this area on the graph? You have to use integration. So we know that we have to integrate y with respect to dx, obviously, between the value of 0 and the value of a is supposed to give you 48.4 square units. Now replace the equation. That will be what? That will be a0, y is equal to 2x plus 1, 3 over 2 dx has to be 48.4. Now, we observe something. We have this value already, right? If you observe, if you remember, this is from part B of this question, right here. 3 over 2 give you this value. So just write this down now, because we know this already. We know that this will give you the value of 2x plus 1, 5 over 2 over 5. This is from part B. Now the limit is a and 0, supposed to give you 48.4. Now simplify. You will have what? You will have first value here, we have to take a in. That will be 2 times a will be 2a plus 1 over 5 minus 2 times 0 will be 0. That will be 1 over 5 has to be 48.4. Now obviously we have denominators of 5. We can eliminate them by multiplying of 5 everywhere. We have 48.4 times 5, so that should be 242. So right now you will have 2a plus 1 minus 1 over this value is equal to 242. Okay, let's see. Obviously here I'm forgetting the power here, sorry. So 5 over 2, right? Now we have to send this over here. So that will be 2a plus 1 is equal to 243. Of course, power 5 over 2. Now if you observe again, how are we going to solve this? So again, I think from part 3 we have seen something pretty similar when you have 2a plus 1, 5 over 2 is equal to 243. So our idea here is to find the value of a, obviously. So we have to try to make this become the subject of formula. So we have to remove the power. So we apply a power, so we can remove that. We realize it has to be 2 over 5. Apply both sides because we want to remove this. If you observe, 5 over 2 multiplied by 2 over 5, that have to be 1. So these two will cancel out. You have 1. So that will result in the value of 2a plus 1. That will be 243 power 2 over 5. That will be 9. So 2a has to be 8. A has to be the value of 4. As you can see, this is your answer for this question. And in most cases, as you can see, all the questions here from part A, part B, they are all connected with each other. So there's a reason almost in every question. There's a reason why they ask you to do something. And in the end, you have to use all the previous answers to help you find this answer as well. So this value of A has to be the value of 4 by using the given information area to solve for this value of A for 4. And that is your question number 4, coincidence. So let's move on to question number 5. So a 5-digit number is to be formed from a from the digits 2, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Each digit may be used only once. So that is the initial condition. Now part 1, we have to find the number of different 5-digit numbers that can be formed. Pretty easy. As always, we begin with 5 spots, 5 space. So we have 5 numbers. We have 5 options. Then we have 4, 3, 2, and 1. That would be 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That should be 120. Okay, all the other option is we have 5 numbers. We know we have to permutate 5 because we're choosing 5. That has to give you the same answer, 120. So 2 methods will give you the same values. Now for part 2 of the question, so here we have to find the percentage of these numbers are odd. Now again, as you can see, you're being asked for the percentage here, which is a whole new thing. Not new thing, but you have to be careful, basically. So let's do that. So let's write down the numbers. We have 2, 5, 6, 7, 9. Now, let's see how many odd numbers we have here. We have 5, 7, and 9, which are odd numbers. Again, we are trying to form a 5-digit number, so 5 space. Now, for the number to be odd, it has to end with an odd number. So we have 3 ways of ending the number. Let's say we end with 9, right? Now for the rest, there's no condition. We can choose from any of those. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 options. Let's say I choose 2. Then we have 3 options. Let's say I choose 5. 2 options. Let's say I choose 6. And finally, 1 option. Let's say I choose 7. So your answer will be this times this times this and times this. 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 times 3. That will be 72. But now again, this is not your final answer. That is only 1 mark of the question. You have to provide the percentage, which is this. 72 divided by the total number of numbers times 100 of these numbers, right? 72 divided by 120 times 100. That will be 60% as your answer. Now for part B of the question, we have 12 people are placed at random in 3 groups of 4 people each. Find the number of ways this can be done. Now again, we have to understand all the 12 people, they are different people. That's the first thing we have to understand. And then the question is actually 3 marks. So it should not be easy, if that makes sense, right? So the way we have to do this is we have to think about this is we need 3 groups of 4 people each. So to select the first group from the 12 people, we can choose 4 people. That makes sense, right? That's the first group. We can choose 4 from the 12 people. Then for the second group, after choosing 4 people, we have 8 people remaining. We choose the next group of 4 people. Same logic. Now after choosing 4 people, we have 4 people remaining. We will choose the 4 from that. That's the first step. So let's see what do we have here. That will be 12, choose 4 times 8, choose 4 times 4, choose 4. That will be 34, 6, 5, 0. So I believe many of you have stopped right here. I think this is only 2 marks. So to get 3, you have to understand that because here we have 3 groups, right? Now we can, of course, rearrange the group among themselves interchangeably. Because of that, we have to divide by 3 factorial ways. So divide by 3 factorial ways. That will be 5, 7, 7, 5. So this will be the answer for question part B. Okay, that will be question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. So here we have to solve the simultaneous equation, meaning we have to find the value of x and find the value of y. Okay, so let's see what do we have here. So here for the first equation, let's see how can we simplify this. We have log the base of a. Here we have x plus y equal to the value of 0. Now to simplify, we have to send this value over here. You will have x plus y has to be a power 0, and then x plus y has to be the value of 1, because anything power 0 is 1. So that is my equation number 1. Now following this, here we have this. So here we have to So what can we do here? We have log to the base of a, here we have log to the base of a, so we can just send this on top, right? You will have log base of a x plus 1 has to be log base of a y squared. Right, if you see this. Now, because here we have both sides, we have log to the same base, which is a, we can cancel them out. So eventually you will end up with x plus 1 has to be y squared. Now x has to be y squared minus 1, which is my equation number 2. So now we have two equations we can solve simultaneously. Now we can replace x in this equation. So x is what? X is y squared minus 1. So plus y has to be 1. So simplify. Y squared plus y. Send this over here. You will have minus 1. Minus 1 is 0. So y squared plus y will be minus 2 is 0. So as you can see, we have a quadratic equation. So we have to solve that. We have to first factorize. Now if you cannot factorize, you can use your calculator obviously to solve this. Here we have 2. 2 is 2 times 1. To get plus 1 here, which is 1 here, we have to have plus 2 and minus 1. Now y has to be minus 1. So plus 1, sorry, because send this outside, we go plus 1. And this has to be minus 2. Now let's find the corresponding values of x. So x has to be y squared minus 1. So y squared is 1 squared is 1 minus 1 is 0. Same thing here. X is y squared is minus 2 squared is 4 minus 1. That has to be 3. So here we have two possible values. X is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1. Or here we have x is equal to the value of 3 and y is equal to the value of minus 2. But if you observe now, we have to check if these values are valid or not valid. Now if you observe here, we have a negative value. If you were to plug this value in here, because you can see here we have log to the base of a minus 2. Now log cannot take negative values, so this one will not be a valid answer. So we can only have this one as your answer for this question, because this is not valid. That is your question part 1 of 6. Now for part B, given that we have log to the base of p, q squared multiplied by log to the base of q now, p cube equal to the value of a. So we have to find the value of the constant a. So the idea here is that we have to find a way to simplify those terms or combine them so we can have a constant value of a. So now let me explain on the side how can we think about this. For example, if you have log to the base of, let's say we have a and b. Let's say I want to express this completely new now in the terms of log to the base of c. You can rewrite this in terms of log to the base of c for this value and log to the base of c for this value. So this and this are equal. It is just a property we can use to re-express the same logarithm with a different base. Okay, so here we have two choices. We can change this to the base of p, or we can change this to the base of q. So let me just keep this the way it is. Let me change this one. So you can do the other way around too. It is the same thing. Okay, so here we have log to the base of q, p power 3. Now I can definitely do that. So if I want to change the base of p, I can write log to the base of p. On top we have p cube. Now below, same thing, log to the base of p, and here we have q. We can write the q here. Now simplify. If you observe, here we have power of 3. We can send this right here. You will have 3 log base of p and p divided by log base of p and q. Now we can replace this back in the main equation. So let's do that. To begin, we have this log to the base of p, q squared multiplied by, this is now this 3 log base of p and p over log base of p and q. Now if you observe, when you have log to the base of the same value p and p, that has to give you the value of 1. So this will simplify to log we'll take on the value here, that will be 3, obviously, log to the base of p q square over the value of log base of p q. Now obviously we can send the power again to the beginning, so you will end up with 6 log base of p q over the value of log base of p q. So now we just observe, look at this and this are same, so they will cancel out. So eventually the value of a has to be 6. Okay, and that is your question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. So here we have d2y by dx2 is given to you by this equation. The curve has a gradient of 6 at the point this. Now we have to find the equation of the curve. Okay, so from d2y by dx2 to the value of y, which is the equation of curve. Now we have to understand before we do this question that to find y, we know it is integration of dy by dx. Now before this, we have to understand that dy by dx is the integration of d2y by dx2. So we have to understand that. So we first have to find these values first. So let's find that. So dy by dx have to be integration of 8 sine 2x by dx. That will give you 8 is only a multiple, will be outside. Sine will be minus cos 2x. Here we have 2, we have to divide by 2, and then plus c for the constant of integration. So that will simplify to what? That will simplify to minus 4 cos 2x plus c. That is dy by dx. Now we have to obviously find the value of c. Now, as you can see, we have been given an information here. The curve has a gradient, which is dy by dx is 6 at this point. So we have to use that. So dy by dx is 6 when the value of x is pi by 2. So here we have 2 here, so 2 times pi by 2 plus 6 c, sorry. Now we have to simplify. That will give you 6 is minus 4. Here we have to use radians because of the angle is in pi radians and stuff. That'll be cos pi, that will be minus 1. So minus 1 plus c. Conclusion is c has to be the value of, that will be plus 4. Send this over here will be 6 minus 4 has to be 2. So conclusion is dy by dx have to be the value of minus 4 cos 2x plus 2. Now we have to continue because we want to find the value of y, which is the equation of the curve. So y is integration of dy by dx, which is minus 4 cos 2x plus 2 by dx. Simplify. Minus 4 is only a multiple. This will become sine 2x divided by 2 plus 2x plus d for the constant of integration. Because we have c already here, we can use d now, right? Now we have to find the value of d. Same concepts. We have the passing point. We have the passing point which is pi by 2 and 4 pi. It means that when the value of x was this, the value of y was this. Replace back in your equation. So y was 4 pi is minus 2 sine of 2x plus 2x plus d. Now simplify. 4 pi has to be, so what is this value? So sine of pi is what? It is 0. So that will be 0 plus pi plus d. Now d has to be 3 pi. Now simplify, in the end you will have what? Y is equal to, replace here, minus 2 sine 2 hex plus 2x and plus 3 pi. This is your equation of the curve for question number 7. Okay, so let's move on to question number 8. So the polynomial p of x is given by this equation, where a and b are integers, which means they are whole numbers. It is given that 2x plus 1 is a factor of p of x, so that means that if you were to divide p of x by this, you will have no remainder. So I understand that 2x plus 1 equate to 0. What is the value of x? X will be minus half. If you were to put or plug in the value of minus half into p, you should have a remainder of 0 because it is a factor of that equation. That will be my first information that could be derived from that line. Now, continue. When p of x is divided by x minus 3. So now, what is the value of x? X will be 3. So plug in the value of 3 into p of x. That will give you the remainder of 175. So that is the other equation I can derive from that. Number 1 and number 2. So one by one, let's try to solve them. So using these two equations, find the value of a and b. So first one, p of minus half will be what? Will be a times minus 1 over 8 plus b, that will be 1 over 4 plus 7 minus half plus 1 and has to equal to 0. Simplify. As you can see here, the base we have 8, 4, 2. We can just multiply everywhere by 8 if you want to eliminate the denominator. That will give you minus a plus 2b minus 28 plus 8, that has to be 0. Simplify. Minus a plus 2b minus 20 has to be 0. So a has to be 2b minus 20. Equation number 1. Now move on to this one, p of 3, that has to be what? So replace back here, you will have 27 of a plus 9b plus 3 times 7, that will be 21, plus 1, that has to be 175. Simplify. Plus 9b has to be 175 minus 22, that has to be 153. Now let us try to divide by 3 everywhere. You will have 9a plus 3b, that will be 51. Let's try again, divide by 3. That will be 3a plus b, that should be 17. This is my equation number 2. Now you can see that we have two equations we can solve simultaneously to find the value of a and b. So here we have a, replace in here a, so 3 times a is 2b, minus 20 plus b has to be 17. 6b minus 60 plus b has to be 17. Now this plus this has to be 7b. 17 plus 60, that has to be 77, right? Let's check. Yeah, so b has to be the value of 11. Let's check. 77 divided by 7, that will be 11. Now let's move on to find the value of a. A has to be 2 times 11 minus 20, that has to be 22, minus 20, that has to be the value of 2. So a has to be 2 and b has to be the value of 11. That is my question about a. Now moving on to part b. Using those values of a and b from part a, find the remainder of p prime of x, which is the derivative of p of x. So let's first find that. That will be 3 times a, which is 2x squared. Because, let me write this down, I don't want to confuse you guys, because we know that p of x is ax cubed plus bx squared plus 7x plus 1. Now we know how to find the derivative of this one. That will be first multiplied by the power, that will be a is 2 and x squared. Now plus we have 2b 11 x plus 7, and that will become 0. So we have p prime of x will be 6x squared plus 22 plus 7. Now replace the value here. X will be, equate that to 0. X has to be the value of 1. To find the remainder, 6 plus 22 plus 7, that will be what? That will be the value of 35 as your remainder. And that is your question number 8. Let's move on to question number 9. So here we have a trapezium, as you can see, right? Because we have two sides which are in the same direction and then a perpendicular height in between. That will be a trapezium. Let's see the questions. So we're given the length of AB, DC, and AD. But first we have to find the area of the shape ABCD. It is a trapezium, so we have to use your formula for that, which is half times sum of the parallel side, which is this and this. So add them together, you have 5 root 3 minus 3 plus 5 root 3 minus 1. And times the height in between, which is this one, root 3 plus 2. That will be half. Simplify this plus this, that will be 10 and minus 3 minus 1 minus 4. Now we can expand the brackets one by one, obviously. First one, take this, multiply by this. You will have half is half, obviously. We won't change that for now. But that will give you 10 times 3 plus 20 root 3. Now let's do for this one. Minus 4 times this and times this. That will be minus 4 root 3 minus 8. Simplify. Let's see what happens. You will have half, which is outside. That will be 30 plus 20 root 3 minus 4 root 3 minus 8. Simplify. You have half. That will be 30 minus 8 will be 22 plus 16 root 3. So in the end, that will be 11 plus 8 root 3. Okay, and that is your question for part A of question 9. Let's move on to part B of question 9. So here we have what? We have the angle BCD is this. So let's see where's the angle BCD. BCD is this angle. This is theta radians. Now, find the value of cot theta in the form of this. So pretty easy, let's think. How can you find the value of cot theta? So we have to think, what is cot theta? By definition, it is 1 divided by tan theta, right? So we can first find this one and then find cot theta. Now we know that tan theta is what? Tan theta will be the opposite side divided by the adjacent side, right? Now if you go back to your diagram here, what can we derive? If you look, observe, you can see that we have triangle. Let's say this point is the point F. We have triangle CBF, right? This one is 90 because this one is 90. This is also 90. Now, this, we know what is this height. It is the same as this. But what is this one? We also know. Why? Because we know that the length of DC is 5 root 3 minus 1 and the length of AB is 5 root 3 minus 3. So which means this is the difference between those two. It has to be the value of 2. This is 2. This is root 3 plus 2. So tan will be what? Tan will be the opposite side, which is BF, over this side, which is FC. So replace and see what happens. So right now we have opposite side is BF, which is root 3, and the AFC will be 2. This is tan theta. Obviously, we are trying to find cot theta. So leading that, we have cot theta. It is 1 divided by tan, so we have to flip this upside down. Will be 2 over root 3 plus 2. Now obviously we can simplify this. How? If you know. So we can rewrite this if you want to. That will be 2 minus root 3. Multiply by the conjugate of this, so plus, apologies, conjugate will be 2 minus root 3. 2 minus root 3. That will be 4 minus 2 root 3. And that will be, so this time this will give you what? If you expand, simplify, you will have 4 minus 3, and that should be 4 minus 2 root 3 over 1, which is 4 minus 2 root 3. Which is here, we have the value of C and the value of D. They are both integers, which are whole numbers. That is your question, part C. Part B, sorry, cot theta is 4 minus 2 root 3. Now for part C of the question, let's see what do we have. Using your answer to part B, okay, so we have to find the value of this in the form of this. So part B, we have what? We have cot theta has to be 4 minus 2 root 3. Now how can we use this to find this? We have to know that, so we are given this formula as well in the in our list of formulas, but if you don't know that, No worries, we can try to derive this. Let me show you guys. Something we know for sure is that sin theta plus cos theta is what? Is equal to 1. What if you divide everywhere by sine square theta? You will have 1 plus cot square theta equal to cosec square theta. So we know this has to equal to this. Now we have just to replace, so that will be cosec square theta has to be 1 plus cot square will be 4 minus 2 root 3 square. That will be 1 plus, that will be 16 minus 2 times this, that should be 16, right? So 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16 root 3, and plus 4 times 3. So let's see what do we have. That will be 1 plus this will be 17 plus 12 minus 16 root 3. That will be 29 minus 16 root 3. Where E and F are integers as well. And this is your answer for part C of the question. And that is question number 9. Let's move on to question number 10. So the diagram shows the figure A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay, where A, B, F, G, and B, C, D, E are rectangles of length x and width x over 3, as you can see on the diagram. Now, the sector BFE of a circle of center B, radius x, so this is radius x, right, has an angle of theta. It is given that the area of BFE is 2 centimeters square. So how do you find area of sector? So the idea is that area of sector is found by using the formula half r square theta. Now the radius is x, that will be x square theta, that will be theta x square over 2 is equal to the value of 2, which is the area. So we can form an equation here, which is theta x square has to be the value of 4. Something we can derive by using the area given to you. Now for part 1, we have to show that the value of P, which is the perimeter of the figure A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay, is given by P, this one. So let's see how can we show this. So we have to add all the side one by one. So this is x over 3, x over 3, x over 3, and x over 3. So we have 4 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So first thing is 4x over 3. Now plus we have this and this. That will be 2x. And we have this part here, which is r times theta, which is the length of arc, right? Simplify. 4x over 3 plus 2x plus the radius. Radius is x. Theta is, as we have seen here, theta can be what? Theta can be 4 over x squared, right? So 4 over x squared. This will simplify to 4x over 3 plus 2x, and that will give you plus 4 over x. Okay, so simplify. Let me rewrite this down in this side. You will have what? So right now I have P is equal to 4 over 3 x plus 2x plus 4 over x. As you can see, this one will remain the same, but these two we can combine them together. What is 2? 2 can also be 6 over 3, right, if you observe. So 4 over 3 x plus 6 over 3x is 4 over x. So finally that will be 10 over 3x plus 4 over x. This is the value of P shown as required. Okay, that is part A of the question. Now for part B, given that x can vary, find the minimum value of P in this form. So pretty easy. When we want to find the mean value or the max value, we have to find dP by dx, right, in this question. So P was found to be 10 over 3x plus 4 over x. Now we can rewrite this as 10 over 3x plus 4x power minus 1, right? Now to find dP by dx, that will be what? That will be 10 over 3, then minus 4x power minus 2. That should be 10 over 3 minus 4 over x squared. This is dP by dx. Now at the min value, we have to equate that to 0. If that makes sense. That will become 10 over 3 is equal to 4 over x squared. Cross multiply, you will have, or send this here, you will have, so we have x squared, that will be 4 times 3 divided by 10. That will be 12 over 10. Now we have to simplify and express in this form, right? So let's see what can we do. So here we need the value of 30 to be inside. So let's see what can we change that. So first thing, x will be what? Square root of 12 over 10. That's something we know already. Now p is a rational number, so q, the value of, so p is good. Now we have this, and we have to find this one. So we just have to show the value of q and root of 30. So how can you play with this to find that root of 30? So let's see, we have this. So we will have this, right? Because this is the same as this, if you observe. Now what can we do now? We can take out the value of, so what is 120? 120 is 4 times 30. So that will become root 4 times 30 over 100. Now we can place something here. Break this down, that will be root of 4 times root of 30 over root of 100. So what happens now? This we know it should be 2, and this we know that should be 10. That will be root of 30. That will be 1 over 5 root of 30. So q has to be the value of 1 over 5. Now verify the value is a minimum, so we can use the d to p by dx2 to find that. That will give you what? So we can use this one right here. So that will become, first term will become 0. And so let me write this down so we can have a look together. So from part 1 we realized that dp by dx was found to be 10 over 3 minus 4x power minus 2. So from this we can find this. That will give you 10 over 3 plus, so first multiply will be 8 x power minus 3. That will be 10. This will go away. But sorry, this will go away. You will have 8 x power 3. So now, obviously, at the value of x that we have seen, x was found to be 1 over 5 root 30. Now, given x is positive, 8 divided by a positive value, you will have a positive answer. So we conclude that d to p by dx2 is positive. Since of that, we confirm it is a minimum point. That's how we would do that. And that is the question number 10 of this paper. Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is question number 10. It was sent to me by one of the subscribers in the comment section. So it seems that this one is it was the last question on their Add Math paper today for the May June series 2021. So I cannot confirm if that's exactly what's on the paper, but that was sent to me today by one of the students who had the exam, and they wanted to confirm if they had got the right answer or not. So with that being said, let's move on to the question. So here we have what? We have a tangent of the curve y at this value at x equal to 1. It meets the y-axis at the point P. As you can see, there's many information right here in the same line or the same sentence. It is kind of confusing. So whenever that happens, what do we try to do? We try to draw something to see what we have and what can we derive to find the answers in the end. So let's see. So let's first begin with the y-axis, and we can draw the x-axis as well, obviously. And then now, I don't know the shape of the curve, so let's assume it can have any shape. So let's say if I take the value of x to be 0, y will be also 0 because this will become 0. So let's say we have one point here, and then let's just see. So I will just draw any shape. It just needs to be a curve. For example, it could be something like this. Okay, we don't need to know the exact shape of the curve. It just needs to be a curve. That's the idea right now. This is my curve y. Now, the main point is that the curve has a tangent at the point x equal to 1. So let's pretend this is my point, x equal to 1. Right? This is the point right here, and it has a tangent. Now, tangent has to be a line, a straight line, touching that point as you can see, that will be my tangent at that point. Okay, so this is my tangent. Now, obviously, this diagram is not accurate. It is only an example, an illustration for you to understand what's happening, and you can use that to find your answers in that question. So now what else do we need to know? This is the point 1, obviously, as you can see here, x equal to 1, and I have my equation of y given to me as well. Now, see that we have this tangent meeting the y-axis at the point P. So it means that where this tangent meets the y-axis, that will be the point P. Okay. Now also, the tangent also meets the point Q at x equal to 2. Now we have to know x equal to is what? It is a vertical line, right? So for example, here, that will be, let's say, let me continue this. That will be the line x equal to 2. And this point of intersection here will be the point Q. So we have the point P here, point Q here. Now, finally, what do we have here? A line through P parallel to the x-axis meets the point R at this value. So pretty easy. So at the point P, we have a line which is parallel to the x-axis. Now, we have to understand same direction as x-axis means has to be a flat line at this one. So it has to be a line through P in this direction. Right. And wherever it meets the value of x equal to 2, that will be your point R. Okay. So this is basically the diagram that we have to work with. And then we have to find the area of PQR of this triangle. So one by one, let's first find the points and then we can find the area. So let's see. As you can see here, tangent is a major part of this question. So let's see if you can find the equation of tangent so we can find the point P and the point Q, right? So let's see. We have y is given to us by what? Let me write this down. So y was given to us by the equation 6x ln of x squared plus 1. Okay. Now, to find the equation of the tangent, and we know tangent is a straight line, we have to find the gradient of tangent, right? That's the first step of tangent. Now, we understand that gradient of tangent is equal to what? dy by dx. Okay, so we have to first find dy by dx. Now, this one, as you can see, it is a product, 6x times ln of this. It is a product, so we have to use the product rule. So dy by dx, that will be, first you have to write down 6x as it is, and then do d by dx of this one, that will be 1 over x squared plus 1, and then that will be 2x, right? And then plus the second one as it is, and times d by dx of this one, that should be 6. Now simplify, you will have what? 12 x squared over the value of x squared plus 1 plus 6 ln of x squared plus 1. This is dy by dx. Now, as you can see, it is a tangent at the point x equal to 1, so we have to replace the value when x equal to 1. What is the value of dy by dx? Let's see what happens. That will be 12 over 2 plus 6 ln of 2, right? That will become 6 plus 6 ln of 2. So we found the value of the gradient of tangent. The gradient of tangent is equal to this value. That's the first step. Now, to find the equation of tangent, we have to find a passing point. Now, we know this is the point where x equal to 1, but what is the value of y? So we have to replace back in the equation of the curve to find the corresponding value of y. So when x equal to 1, y has to be 6 times 1 ln of 1 plus 1. That will be 6 ln of 2. So the passing point is 1, 6 ln of 2. Now, to find the equation of that tangent, we have to, this is my x value, my y value, so use my formula, x minus the corresponding y value over, y, and x minus the corresponding x value, equal to my gradient will be this ln 2 over this. Now we have to cross multiply. You will have y minus 6 ln 2 equal to x minus 1 times 6 plus 6 ln 2. So this will be my equation of tangent. Now, as you can see, my tangent, it crosses my y-axis at the point P, so we have to find the point P first. Now, what do we know? We know that so let's first find the point P. Point P is on the y-axis, so at y-axis, what do we know? The value of x has to be 0. Replace, you will have y minus 6 ln 2, that will be minus 1, right? 0 here, minus 1, 6 plus 6 ln 2. Simplify, that'll be y equal to, that will become a plus, so we send this over here, plus 6 ln of 2 minus 6 minus 6 ln of 2. Now simplify, these two will cancel out, so you will have minus 6 remaining. So the point P finally will be, the x value will be 0 and the y value will be minus 6. This is my point P, which is 0 minus 6. Right. Now let's find the point Q. How would you find the point Q? As you can see, it says that the point Q is where the tangent meets the line x equal to 2. So it is a point of intersection between this line and the tangent. So again, we have to solve a simultaneous equation. So let's rewrite down the equation of tangent. So that is my point Q, right? So my tangent will be what? As we have seen before, let me copy that. It is y minus 6 ln of 2 has to be x minus 1 times 6 plus 6 ln of 2. That is my equation of tangent. So to find the point Q, we know this is the tangent has to meet the line x equal to 2. So replace that in my equation. Let's see what happens. You will have y minus 6 ln 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Then we have 6 plus 6 ln 2. Simplify. Send this over here, become plus 6 ln 2. And here we have plus 6 plus 6 ln 2. That will become 6 plus 12 ln 2. So in conclusion, we have what? The point Q has to be x value is 2 and the y value is 6 plus 12 ln 2. Okay, this is my point Q. Now finally, we have to find the point R, right? Should be pretty easy if you observe. The point R is what? So according to the question, the point R is the line through P, so passing through P, a horizontal line passing through P. So what is that equation? Because we know that P value here, it is 0 and minus 6, right? This is the point P, this is minus 6 right here. If a line passes through that point, the equation has to be y equals to minus 6. That makes sense, right? Because it is same direction as x-axis, has to be a horizontal line. This is why the equation will be y equal to minus 6. Now, it is where R is the point where this line and this line meet. So by observation, you can conclude that R has to be the point. The x value has to be 2 and the y has to be minus 6, if that makes sense, right? Because this is the line, and the line that they both meet will be the point of intersection will be for R. Now given that this one is a horizontal line, right, and we know that this has to be a vertical line, so these two provide you with the point R. So now we have all the 3 points. We have 2 ways of finding the area. One is by using the array method, or we can just use the diagram to find the area. So point R was found to be 2 minus 6. Now let me first use the formula method to find the area, and then we can use the other method as well to find the area. For example, right now we have the 3 points. P is 0 minus 6. Then we have Q is 2, 6 plus 12 ln 2, and then R has to be 2 minus 6. That is the first option to find the area. So I will do half. I will write half modulus of the first point, 0 minus 6. Then we have 2. 6 plus 12 ln 2. Then we have 2 minus 6. Of course, you have to end with the same point for this formula. Now we have to multiply in this direction first, right? That will be half. So the first one will be obviously 0, bracket first, so 0. That will be minus 12, and that will be minus 12. Then minus in this direction, that will be minus 12, and that will be 2 times this will be 12 plus 24 ln of 2, and this will be 0. Close. Now simplify. This and this will cancel out, as you can see. This will be half modulus, and this will be minus 24 minus, that will be 24 ln of 2. Now simplify or expand the bracket, you will have this and then this. Now whenever you have something inside modulus, it will become positive, so you will have 12, positive value of 24 plus 24 ln of 2. Divide by 2, you will have 12 plus 12 ln 2 for the area of that triangle. Now that is one way of finding the area, by using the formula. First you find the 3 points and use your formula to find the area. But now again, we can use something very simple as well. If you just observe, what do we have here? Because this line is a horizontal line, this line is a vertical line, we can conclude that this has to be a right angle triangle. This one also is a straight line, but this has to be a right angle triangle. Now how do you find the area of a right angle triangle? By your formula, that has to be half times base times height. Now if you observe half, what is the base? The base is from this point P to R. The distance between those two has to be what? From 0 to 2, it has to be 2. So the base has to be 2. Now what is the height? Let's find the height. The height will be this to this. Right, so the point Q has been found to be 2, and then 6 plus 12 ln 2. Okay, so this is 2, this is the y value here is this one. So first we can write down this height has to be what? This height is this, and this height has to be 6. So together, if you can observe, this has to be this plus this, that should be 12 plus 12 ln 2 for the height of the triangle, right? Because if you understand point, the point Q is 2, and this value, so 2, this value will be here, right? So this height will be this value, right? That's the first step. And now the point P, which is the point R, sorry, it is 2 and then minus 6, which means minus 6 has to be here, and then this distance here will be 6, right? So if you add those two, you find the total height. It will become this. Now you place back in your equation, half times base times height will be this. So simplify, you will have to end up with the same answer as well for your area of triangle. That will be units square. Okay, so that will be the question number 10. I know it is a very long question indeed. It involves a lot of calculation as well. But if you guys manage to write something for this, for example, you found the dy by dx, you found the point P, you found the equation of tangent, you guys will get part marks at least, you know. Even though if you don't have the exact answer in the end, if you find those equation, you should be getting some part marks. So that will be the question number 10. Based on the information that was given to me, that will be the answer for the question. So I hope that was somewhat helpful. And as always, thank you for watching. I will see you soon.